So tell me what midday mindfulness looks like in practice. What should people expect? Like, I can't imagine how many folks run into you as you're passing by people on the pedestrian bridge or like in the hallway and they're like, oh, Barry, I wish I could attend. But I wonder if you might help us understand, like, what's the format? How does that 30-minute session roll out, and what can people expect?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you asking. I get this all the time. Last week I was having lunch with a client at Plant City, and 3 people who I recognize from co-working, I don't know if I know their names, that came up and they're like, you're that guy that does mindfulness, right? Like, I've been meaning to go to that. And it's kind of this thing. But I think there might be a little bit of anxiety that people have always stepping into a space and not knowing what exactly is going to happen. So it's pretty straightforward, and so I appreciate the opportunity to talk about it. The first thing we do always is ring a bell. And we ring that bell because the sound is soothing and calming, but also because it creates a container for our space. The bell draws attention immediately away from what's going on, and as the sound fades, our attention kind of hones in with it, tracking the diminishment of that sound over time. And it's a way of immediately saying, I'm entering a time to be aware of where my attention is in a calm way, and that's the perfect way. I love that bell. A little bit obsessively. It's the perfect way to start practice. So we ring a bell. That's the first thing that happens.
Nice.
Then I give a prompt or instruction, fairly simple, because it's always useful for us to ground and explain what practice are we going to do today. There are many different ways to practice mindfulness. Sometimes that might include a poem or an inspirational reading, but always it includes clear instructions about what we're going to do in the day's practice.
So when you say that, is it that the reading itself is sort of tied to like the theme of the practice for that day?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if we're gonna practice, let's say, loving kindness in our and cultivating loving kindness, either to ourselves or to loved ones or friends or just to the whole world.
Yeah.
Then we might have a reading to kind of get us into that space, to give it texture,
nice.
to help us work with it, something to aid the practice. But I'm always assuming that anyone who comes has necessarily no formal experience with mindfulness. This is for anyone, and this instruction should be clear so that whether you're the Dalai Lama and you spend your day in silence, or whether you've never done anything like this before, that you're going to have a comfortable, clear experience, that you know what you're doing.
Nice.
And to help. Then we always ask, does anyone have any questions? No one ever has any questions, but if someone did, I've gone on many meditation retreats and things where people have lots of questions. And so if what is going to happen is not clear at that point, there's always an opportunity for someone to ask so that they know what they're going to be doing. And then we do the practice. So I'll ring the bell again, always the bell. To start the practice, we practice together alone. And then the bell rings at the end. And afterwards, there's always a chance for non-judgmental sharing. So people get an opportunity to share if they want, only if they want, anything about their experience, challenges, thoughts, any reflections they want to share, questions. We never fix people at the end. This is important, not like, I had a really bad experience today meditating, let's say. That's not the common experience. Usually it's, I really needed that and I didn't realize it. So that's how it ends. The whole thing takes a half hour.
Yep.
And then folks go on their way.
That's fantastic.